Hey everybody, I have Adam Neely here with me. He needs no introduction. He's been on my channel many times, and we are here at GuitCon 2018 in Germany, in Mackneukirchen, Germany. I had to practice that.
Yeah, I can't do it.
A lot of times.
Good job.
I was talking to my sister before I came here, and she said, how are you going to drive around there? I said, there's this thing called Waze that you use.
W-A-Z-E.
Yeah, Waze, magical. And you just listen to your phone. You don't really drive. You don't need to read the street signs.
Well, I was hearing somewhere somebody was able to download a plugin that lets you get the voice of the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy and lets you talk. He talks at you through Waze. It was like some promotion with KFC. Anyway, I'm not sure if they have it here, but that's my experience with Waze. Great start to the interview.
Okay, so Adam, let's talk a little bit. We don't talk that much about this, about the process of making videos and how you come up with ideas. Adam and I were talking earlier today about one of his videos, Hawk It.
Oh yeah.
You put out a video once a week on Mondays, and occasionally you'll do your gig vlog or something.
Yeah,
not that often though, but
throughout the week maybe.
Yeah,
but mostly Mondays.
But mostly Mondays. And when you're making a video, what do you think about when you're doing these things? How long does it take for you to come up with ideas? And do you work on a video over the course of weeks with some shots? What do you do? What's your process?
Yeah, so I'll have an idea for a video. Honestly, I just keep a running list of videos in a Google Docs folder. And so whenever I have an idea, I'll just jot down a note, oh, that's an interesting idea. Maybe I'll write some more about it later. And then, typically I'll be working, I don't buffer videos. A lot of YouTubers buffer videos where they'll record a bunch at once and then distribute it throughout the week. I
can't do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is there's a lot of other people are just no, it has to be done and then it's out and then I'm on to the next one.
That's right.
So I'm very much like that, but I choose which weeks I decide this is the video I work on. And yeah, I try and keep it varied because honestly, if I don't get excited about what I'm talking about, it's impossible for me to really focus on anything. So yeah, I script everything out. I shoot what I call the talking head, which is basically me gesticulating wildly to the camera and being but what does music mean? Really? And then music kicks in. And it's also fun. One thing that I've noticed, and I've also noticed that nobody really talks about this, background music in YouTube videos.
Yeah, what's your theory on that?
Well, it depends, because if it serves the narrative, I guess, for when I'm talking about something, it can help. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I like doing is I use my own music. And that's an advantage that music YouTubers have over any other kind of YouTubers. You can just use your own stuff, or you write your own stuff for the video that you're doing, rather than using some canned, fake knockoff Dilla beat thing, which a lot of them do. But anyway, so I'll script it out and I'll record it, and then I'll spend the weekend editing. Usually the weekend's my time for editing and putting it all together, getting it all nice and how I like it. And I spend a lot of time getting exactly the timing right of each line. And it's something that's fun for me because it's almost like a musical thing. It's like I'm in a digital audio workstation, moving around, moving around different elements. Is the bass the bass might need to be a few milliseconds later or a few milliseconds earlier if I'm chopping it up and quantizing it or whatever like that. It's very much the similar process for me. I just did an interview with a friend of mine, Charlie Rosen, and he's not really a video editor. He's a musician and he's an orchestrator. And I did an interview and I showed him the edit, and it's man, you have a very musical style of editing. I really like that that you did it this way. And I know what I meant, but I asked him what do you mean? He's well, you really keep things moving. There's never any dead air. It's not every note has a meaning. It's not you're just kind of randomly wanking and randomly shredding. In your video, you're trying to make sure that every moment has a purpose, and that's usually how I think about the editing process. So yeah, try to make if any advice, trying to make your videos musical.
So Adam and I have been friends for, I don't know,
at least a year.
At least a year.
Yeah.
And we were sitting down the other day, and Adam was teaching me things about editing, about how to make
keyframing.
We went over keyframing.
Yeah.
Right. These things that I see in his videos, that way to make text move, way to make anything move, really. Yeah. And I don't know these things. And it's funny that as musicians, the when you get into video making, it's a completely new discipline.
Yeah.
And there are so many things that you learn. It's a whole new skill set. And when you started doing that, did you have any experience when you started making your videos?
Absolutely not, no. I had a DSLR and I got a cracked copy of Final Cut Pro. I now have the legal version, and I just started editing. And that's basically what it is. And, teaching yourself is a powerful tool. And because I taught myself how to do some rudimentary video editing, it's kind of fun for me then to look at how, musicians are learning music, teaching themselves how to play music in whatever way they can. And it gives me, every time I try and learn a new skill that way, it gives me a newfound respect for everybody who is starting from scratch with music and starting and trying to learn and teach themselves. But yeah, no, I didn't have any experience whatsoever with video editing. I just, you know what I did? I went on YouTube and I looked up video tutorials. Yeah, that's what I did.
When you think of YouTube is a place that, typically when I think of YouTube, it's a place you go to learn stuff that you don't know about.
Yeah, it's very much an educational platform, and it's a comedy platform. That's what I kind of think of it as. You go there to learn, you go there to entertain yourself. And, for us and for everybody who is doing music YouTube, we're kind of always falling on some kind of spectrum there. Music, comedy, or how to entertain or how to educate. It's basically what it is. And hopefully inspire, but honestly, comedy and education.
So where do you see your channel going in the future?
What I want to do, and I'm going to be doing more of this, is doing my own original music and doing music videos. I have a couple of videos that I'm working on right now for the fall and for the fall where I can release it on my platform. And it's fantastic because I now have this means of, sharing what I'm doing musically. And then also the great part is every composer loves talking about what they did, so I can release what I did on my channel, and then I can create another video talking about what I did. It's fun. Yeah.
What do you think about the importance of video for musicians? Do you think that this is something that actually be covered in music schools?
Yes, and I'm not sure how it will evolve. I think it won't be covered in music schools explicitly as it is right now for another 5 to 10 years. But I am looking to hopefully conduct some workshops with some jazz students in the coming months, and work with them and basically educate them on the YouTube platform, and also social media strategy, which is of course very important, and what it can do for them and their careers, and what it can do for them just as a means of communication with people, because it is so important. And I think as many people as there are on YouTube, I think there's so much, I think there's a lot more room also for people to grow. So it will be an exciting 5 years.
So Adam and I know each other, and we'll talk outside of, we don't just meet up to make videos together. You live in New York City, or you live in I won't say exactly where you live, or do you talk about where you live?
I'll say I live up in the Bronx.
He lives in the Bronx.
I live in the Bronx, yeah.
There's other people. Casey Neistat is in New York City. Is there something about New York you think that is really beneficial to what you do as a musician and with your channel?
Well, the thing is for my channel, what I ended up doing for a while, you mentioned the gig vlogs, where basically I show, I take a camera and obnoxiously set it up while I'm trying to play, and it's very stressful. I don't recommend doing that. I recommend hiring somebody to do that while you're trying to play.
Yeah.
But the reason why I think it's useful for me right now is just I have a really awesome network of musician friends that I like to go and play with, and it keeps me very much connected to a scene, and I'm very inspired by all the music that's happening in New York. It's a very inspiring place for a musician and a creative person. But the thing about YouTube is I could do what I do basically anywhere, and that's great, and that's why there are things like this are so exciting, is because I never get to see other music YouTubers, because there really aren't that many.
No.
There really aren't that many, and there are not many in New York. There's Jeff Schneider in Jersey who does similar things to what we do, but beyond that, it's everybody's everywhere, and that's kind of the cool thing, is we can connect beyond just being localized. I've thought a lot about what music, how music sounds like in different cities, and how music sounds like around the world, and for how globalized it is, though, it is still kind of localized, meaning musicians in New York play one way, musicians in Nashville play one way, musicians in LA play one way, musicians here in Germany play one way. Everybody plays differently, which is kind of exciting. And that's why you stay in a city, because you identify with how the musicians play and how the whole thing sounds. So that's kind of why I've stayed. But I could do it anywhere.
I know that you're traveling to England after this.
Yeah.
And when you travel around to new places, why do you like doing that?
Two things, the music and food. Those are the two reasons why I travel anywhere. Really no other reason. I like to experience things that I can't where I'm from. And it's just a means of understanding people on a deeper level and learning more. That's why I like traveling.
When you started, you're 30 years old, so you grew up in the 90s, really.
Yeah.
And then the internet happened. That's probably your entire life you've used the internet for the most part, right?
More or less. I mean, not the same way that the digital natives are these days, like the 15-year-old kids these days. I mean, I remember, I guess my family got internet when I was about 9 or 10 years old. So I've had it most of my life, yeah. The idea of not being able to connect to somebody from the other side of the world hasn't really entered my mind. I can do that immediately, and almost always happen.
Do you think that things like YouTube help musicians or help styles of music that have disappeared from the mainstream, like for example, guitar-based music is disappeared from from mainstream radio, for example, but yet it has a new life on YouTube on the internet, and Instagram, YouTube, things like that. What do you think about that?
I think that's very much the case. I think the big advantage of a video-based medium is you can see how people do things very quickly and very immediately, and because you can see somebody play guitar and see somebody play awesome things on the guitar, it's going to make you want to listen to the music and play the music, and then thus eventually make the music yourself. Yeah, for sure. I think especially with any sort of visual medium, the more that you can see it and imitate it, like monkey see, monkey do, definitely. It's also, everything is so much more specialized and niche. If you like a really weird, obscure style of music, you're going to find your people no matter what.
Sure.
And if you're passionate about it and expressing like what you want to, we talk about pretty heavy stuff, dissonant, crazy polytonal chords and crazy rhythms and irrational time signatures, stuff that like you would barely find in the back of like some crazy 20th century textbook just 30 years ago. You wouldn't think of that as popular culture, but in a way it is popular culture because we have the platform of YouTube. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really cool. I want to ask you the question of like where you're going with YouTube in the next like 2 years. What are you thinking of YouTube as? Like, what are some things you want to do?
Well, I want to expand out from what I'm doing with the kind of the history side of it and go through other instruments. I want to talk more about orchestral music and orchestral instruments. I want to continue my What Makes This Song Great series. I want to get up to a couple hundred of those and cover as many genres of popular music as I can with some of the actual people from the bands or the producers on the records. That's where I'd like that to go. And I've got some other I don't know if you'd call them series, these things like that.
Yeah.
Whatever you'd call that.
Yeah, series, episode, whatever.
Yeah.
Shows
that that I want to develop, the ideas for that I want to develop. But I'm like you. I make one video at a time.
Yeah.
I focus on that. I don't have anything stored.
Yeah.
I mean, I have ideas of what I want to do, but.
Well, one thing, and I know you've done a few of these videos. I like the idea of, and there really isn't much of a repository yet. At some point, it might be nice to just do videos about orchestrating and arranging for specific instruments and having people play exactly and play them. And maybe that I'm just kind of like brainstorming for myself right now. So
yeah, I've wanted to. So I wanted to have a series of where I go through every instrument of the orchestra, have a person come in, talk about the ranges, talk about what range they would play as a soloist, what range they would play typically in orchestral music, and go through, have professionals come in and do that. And then I'd like to bring in small groups or large groups and actually perform some contemporary music, because I think that there's that's something that is lacking as far as at least on an episodic nature.
Yeah.
Showing how orchestral music is rehearsed and how it's written, rehearsed, and then performed.
I mean, Leonard Bernstein in his this is my guru in his lecture series, The Unanswered Question. He would do lectures, and then because he was a conductor, and I forget what it was, the New York, I forget what symphony it was, but then the examples, he would conduct examples of everything. And I think in the next couple of years, those are ideas that, as long as I have the resources to be able to do that, I think I'd like to do similar sorts of things and play excerpts and have people come in and actually talk about it, which would be awesome. So
yeah, I think that you and I share that that we want to put out in the world the excitement that we feel for jazz, for classical music, and try to expose people to things that they, unless you go to music school, or even if you do go to music school, you might not necessarily get exposed to. A lot of jazz players that I went to school with were not exposed to any classical music. I don't even mean modern classical music, any classical music, and vice versa.
The interesting thing, and this is why I think YouTube's so powerful, is because you have the ability to edit it and tell a story with it and share your excitement in a musical way because you're editing it musically. You can deliver that sort of excitement to people. And I talked about this is the perfect example. There's a video I did called what is the most difficult piece of music? Clickbait, whatever. And I just wanted to talk about these cool virtuosic pieces of music, and one of them was Ben Johnston's Seventh String Quartet. And when you saw, before I uploaded the video, you saw the views on the YouTube video for that 72 views or something like that. But after I uploaded the video, 40,000 views, and all of a sudden, you see everybody's like, wow, this is really crazy music. This is really weird, dissonant music, but I really love it. And I think just that's one of the things I'm most proud of, is just getting people exposed to things and then really liking that thing the same way that I really like that thing. And YouTube is the only way I know how of doing that on a big scale, a big level.
Well, when you have a large microphone, I guess you call it, people are interested in what you think, and they will follow you down these paths that they may not, that they wouldn't get exposed to just because they don't know anyone that knows anything about these type of pieces. Yeah.
And people get connected to you as a personality too, and so you can show them a lot of things that they would never think, it sometimes takes time to get into really weird, dissonant music, but because it has your recommendation, they're more willing and more open to it. And that's cool. That is really cool, and something that, maybe hasn't occurred that often before in the past. I think about how science popularizers like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Michio Kaku and Carl Sagan, they introduced people to really advanced subjects in quantum mechanics and astrophysics and things that, if they weren't there, I would not care about. But because they're there and they're guiding you down and showing you why they're so excited about these incredible mysteries of the universe, you're right there with them.
Well, if you think about it, though, Carl Sagan, if it wasn't for Johnny Carson, who found Carl Sagan fascinating, and that was his real platform that he developed, that he became known in the mainstream, is through the Tonight Show, which is unbelievable.
Well, and maybe that goes to show, there might be a good thing with popular media like that.
Right?
Yeah, that's a genuinely good thing.
Yeah.
Johnny Carson promoting Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
So hopefully we still find some good things in popular media.
All right, Adam, thank you so much.
Yeah, Rick.
We're going to continue to hang as we're here for the rest of the week, and I look forward to talking more with you about all sorts of things.
Yeah, we got some stuff to talk about off camera.
Cool. That concludes my talk with my dear friend Adam Neely. I'd like to thank the people at GuitCon 2018. Had a great time in Germany. And remind you to subscribe here, hit the notification button. If you're interested in the Beato book, you can find it on my website at www.rickbeato.com and become a member of the Beato Club. You can find out all about it on my website as well. Thanks for watching.